Howdy, my fellow Reno buddies. It's me, Naomi, and I'm back for another round of Reno Rodeo, so to speak. So let me ask you this. How are you going to figure out whether the property that you've got your eye on is the right one for your strategy? Pick one of the properties you have in your leads basket maybe. Now this isn't a catch-all basket, right? It's a small basket that at the end of a very long production line of leads that have been coming through, you've been sifting them down and chucking out ones that don't suit your patch and don't suit your budget and don't suit your strategy, right? So this is like the gold at the end. So for example, if you've been looking at a family neighborhood and the leads that are coming in and have filtered through to this golden basket are four-bedders, fixer-uppers, and they're perfect for your target market, which might be George and Lisa and their kids, then these properties are absolutely fantastic for you because you've used this basket to filter down to the gold. So you're looking at working out your buy price and your sell price because these are the simplest but most important parts of your calculation. And now you should get help to work out exactly whether the renovation project will be worth it. So what now? Now you get to whip out the magnifying glass and really take a good, strong look at your potential renovation project. And you need to make sure that you do this part well before you hand over any money whatsoever. Otherwise, what is the point of jumping on the renovation horse if you're going to end up being thrown off with your face in the mud? So, how do you know what to look for with this magnifying glass? Fantastic question. Right here is where I really want to stress the importance of a good and solid property inspection. Stuff like looking beyond the numbers of bedrooms a place has and how big the kitchen space is. There's three super handy points that people often miss when they're inspecting their renovation projects. And these three questions that you should be asking yourself as part of the property inspection are: number one, what is the overall appeal of the house? Is it remotely attractive? Can you do anything with it? Number two, what are the surrounding properties like? And number three, what is the access to the property like? Because that'll absolutely change and alter the budget and your timeline for the project. So beyond these three things, there are tons of other questions that you could and should be asking yourself when you've got that magnifying glass pointed at that property. So to help you from getting overwhelmed and throwing in the towel, I have a very detailed process and program that I use as part of my training. Now, to get a little bit more in depth on this right now and sort some stuff out for you and what you should be doing, let me ask you a question. And the first question is, what would turn you off wanting to live in a property? Now, I'm not asking if the property is perfect. You're not looking for a ready to move in home, right? But you are looking for one that you can add value to. But there are certain things that are out of your control. And no matter how much money you throw at making a kitchen beautiful and the entertaining space one to die for, they will limit how much you can make in a renovation, right? So, is this road a super busy one? Even though it's not a major one? Does this mean that traffic would get bad during peak periods, or that you wouldn't be able to leave your driveway to pick up the kids from school during certain hours? Yeah, you might already have filtered out the properties that were smack bang in the middle of major intersections or on a busy road, but maybe this road is used as an alternate route to bypass all the traffic in peak hour. And because it's super packed, it might really affect whether someone wants to live there. So another thing to think about is, has the neighbouring property been demolished? Are there muddy trenches and piles of rubbish lying around? Or is there an empty block of land now? You know, this might make your renovation beauty look even more amazing because there's nothing next door to it, but it may also stop people from giving you a good price when you come to sell because they don't want to live next door to a bunch of noisy construction workers for the next 12 months or a large apartment block if it ends up getting developed. Now, obviously, these things are out of your control, but With a few good drive-bys and some Google searching, as well as some council checking, you should be able to work out whether any of these external downsides can potentially affect your renovation project. Now, the second question I want you to consider is this one. What are the main structural things that would eat into your budget if they were missed? So fixing cosmetic things like painting walls and adding pretty cornices, it's fairly cheap and it's pretty easy. These are the things that are quick fixes, and when accounted for, they're not going to eat into your budget. If you overlooked the need to paint a wall, that's no real big deal. You could allocate a small part of your buffer and get that sorted. At the end of the day, you won't be out of pocket a massive amount, and you'll still be on track budget-wise and time-wise to complete your renovation. But if, on the other hand, you buy a place that has missing or crumbling foundations and piers, you'd be a little more out of pocket if you overlooked that compared to overlooking a small part of the paint job. So for example, if there were 9 supporting pillars and 8 of them looked like that a light breeze would knock them over, you'd need to repair them as soon as possible. And these kinds of things are much more serious and take a much larger, substantial part of your budget and a potentially longer time frame to finish your project. And remember, time equals money. So the same goes with any structural cracks in walls, leaking roofs. These will take time and you need to dig deeper into your budget to fix them. Now remember, there's a difference between planned and unplanned structural work. Knocking down a wall or fixing the piers, if you know they need working, can be all part of your overall strategy and your overall budget. Fixing a crumbling wall, on the other hand, that you didn't know needed fixing is more of a spanner in the works, and it can mean that your end profit will suffer because of it. So it may sometimes be a little tricky to really look at all of these things in detail, especially in a property inspection of a furnished house. There's a high chance that there'll be a massive glass cabinet or something taking up an entire wall. But gathering as much information as you can before signing on that dotted line will mean that you're not caught out by these sorts of surprises during the renovation journey down the track. So remember, the goal is to renovate for wealth, not to get early grey hairs. So pull everything you can together, get that magnifying glass out, get cracking, and supersize your property inspections. Hey renovators, if you're ready to take the next step in your renovation journey, then come learn how to renovate with me in my online renovation masterclass. It's completely free for all of you listeners. So if you want to discover how to renovate properties for profit, head over to naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass, where I'll show you how the 7 steps to my winning rapid renovation formula create a 6-figure income for me and many of my students. So save your spot today. Remember, it's naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass. See you soon.